Okay, so back now, gonna start blasting off the, blasting the Cerakote onto the actual part here. Might not be able to see that, but, what the hell, I can do this one-handed. Okay, so, first thing you do is a test spray to make sure that you get it working well. Then you just coat it. You'll have to turn it around to get to some parts of it, like the back of it here. But it doesn't have to be too much. You're just trying to get an even coating of it that's about 1/2 mil to 1 mil thick. So you don't have to do multiple coats or anything. Just make sure that you get good, even coverage. Alright, looks like this piece is done. I still have a tiny bit left, so to make sure I have everything, I'm just going to go back over it here. Make sure that everything's on where I need it to be. Alright, now the Cerakote's on there. And this is just about the kind of coloration you want. You want it to look wet, but you don't want to be so close to it that you start getting it runs or anything like that. So just light, even coats, blast it on there. And it has to look wet but not runny. And that is what Cerakote looks like when it's applied. Now all you have to do is just put this in the oven at 250 degrees for 2 hours or 300 degrees for 45 minutes. And then this will be completely cured, and you can assemble the gun. You can go shooting with it the same day, everything. It doesn't need any extra cure time other than just the 2 hours or 45 minutes in the oven. So, Cerakote, it's a simple process. It's just not the easiest to do if you don't have a decent shop set up. And it's not too hard to get a setup that can work for it. I think I spent about maybe $300 to, no wait, about $500 to get all the stuff I need, including getting Cerakote. And really the biggest expense in this whole thing was my air compressor setup and the Cerakote itself, because I was able to get a deal on that where I got it for $200, and the Cerakote I think was $225 for a 6-color kit, an extra color, and shipping. So really my biggest expense was about $400 for the Cerakote and the compressor, and then about $130 or so for the sandblasting booth. Then about another $20 or $30 for the 120 grit aluminum oxide that I was using to sandblast it. And wire and stuff, that's cheap. Acetone, that was about $16. So for about $560, you'd be able to get set up doing Cerakoting and just doing small stuff like I'm doing. I wouldn't be able to do a full long gun like a rifle just because my sandblasting booth isn't really big enough to do a long gun. I could do an AR if I split it up and got the barrel completely off of it and just did the upper, the lower separately, but I'd just barely be pushing that. But it could be done. AKs with smaller barrels like the 16-inch barrels or Krinkov, stuff like that, you'd be able to do those. But like long, like 32-inch barreled hunting rifles, I wouldn't be able to do those just because, number one, my sandblaster booth isn't big enough and my oven wouldn't be able to heat it up. But you could do air cure, which I'm going to do for my AK build when I'm done doing that. And pretty much that's just going to be sandblasting, degreasing, everything that you've seen. The only difference is you just spray it and leave it out in the air for about 5 days, and that's when it's fully cured. You could wait 24 hours and put the gun back together, but just to be sure it has the full cure time, I'm going to let the air cure sit for the full 5 days that they recommend, and I'm going to head into the house. I'm going to put this guy in the oven at 300 degrees for an hour just to make sure that everything's completely cured, and then this will be done back to the color that I wanted it, instead of the weird color that you guys saw at the beginning, and then we'll see how that goes, and you'll get to see the results.